fmtraining.tv. My name is Margaret. I'll be your broadcast engineer for today. I'm here with the wonderful Nick Hunter. Da 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 da. Hey Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How?
Basically, today is day 2 of a series that'll be going probably for about a month, which is basically a FileMaker WebDirect. WebDirect is a topic of interest for a lot of people, but it has its own unique interactions, and what you can do with it is a matter of some debate within the community. Nick is here to establish his opinion on the matter. Nick was involved in creating WebDirect back in the day, so I would say he's probably one of the foremost experts on it. Thursday is going to be, and Friday are going to be the two outlier days. Thursday is going to be long distance upgrades in FileMaker. Basically, that means, hey, I haven't upgraded my FileMaker file for a while. I think we all talk about FMP7 and onwards. If I believe RCC's stance is if that you have an FMP file that is prior to FMP7, the recommendation is you rebuild it. It doesn't survive the upgrading very well. Friday, detecting duplicate images in FileMaker will be that discussion. Basically, you're submitting multiple images into your file for whatever reason you want to avoid duplicates. Here's one of the ways you can do that. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'll be continuing the WebDirect conversation. Quick reminder, we do stream on 3 platforms. We stream on Discord, YouTube, and Twitch. Basically, the difference between the two is that YouTube and Twitch are both about 90-second delays. So you will ask questions, and I will definitely see your questions, but if you're like, man, they've already skipped over the topic, I guess they're ignoring my question. That's not necessarily the case. You're just on a 90-second delay. Discord is a live chat, so it interacts with us in real time, but I know that the interface can be confusing for some people. If you'd like to support the channel, we greatly appreciate it. We're FM training and/or subscription bundles. These are 100+ hours of content. We pretty much cover everything under the sun. While we do rehash parts of this on the live stream, it's going to be a different environment. Live streams are generally an hour long. They're very conversational. We allow our presenters to meander. I cannot tell you the amount of comments we get from people going like, I wish you wouldn't interrupt the presenter, or I really don't like the format of this. This is just kind of our format. We like to keep things conversational and an open discussion. I totally get why that doesn't work for some people. If you're looking for very narrow, very specific topic discussions, this is what the bundles are for. We have videos on pretty much everything you need to know to become an intermediate developer in your own right and work on your own solutions. And they're all 10 to 20 minutes, so no interruptions, all animated, all very focused. So, with that being said, I think we're probably good. Okay, Nick, what are we doing today?
Hello, Marge. Hello, everybody. So today we do second day of this series. So it will be maybe it will be longer than just the 9 days that we have in mind, right? Because there's a lot of things that we have to talk about WebDirect, right? And I want to be an extensive demonstration, and I'm going to build stuff, and then I'm going to take time to explain things to people, and we're going to build stuff while we talk. I'm going to explain many things about technical techniques and practices and design and all together. So it will be but we'll talk about many things, right? So it won't just be talking about WebDirect, right? I mean, we're going to use WebDirect. All the conversation will be about WebDirect. I mean, throughout the filter of WebDirect, right? But with explanation why we need to do things and why we cannot do things, and and I'm going to explain all of this. Okay. So today we do I'm going to explain a little bit what makes the difference between clients and WebDirects, and how we can handle this differently, right? How we can make them better, right? And what is the big difference, between FileMaker or client and WebDirect, the restrictions or the limitations that we have that are due to the fact that we use a browser and we don't use a native app, right? So we're going to talk about this today, today will be we're going to talk about objects and layout objects and stuff like that. So yesterday you said you had some questions that they were left over.
Can you pass a username and a password like a guest user as part of OpenURL? Basically, a lot of people are very curious about how you got the login system to work.
Yeah, I know the login stuff. That
You can
I
put a
think
pin
that
in
will be
that for later if you'd like.
yeah. I mean that will be the topic for tomorrow because I really want to take I want to explain things before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and we will have this conversation tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
How to do the login stuff. I'm going to explain how how we can do all of we can do all, right? But we have to take in account the security. Okay, so and I'm going to explain the philosophy. So we're going to talk about this tomorrow. We have all the conversation tomorrow will be about this. That was my plan. How you get in, but before to get in, I want to explain the differences and the things that we need to take care of in the in WebDirect, and maybe later, if I have some time, we can talk about this, right? But today, I want to start with. So that's the only question we have.
There's mostly multiple questions surrounding that, so
Oh, around the login,
yeah, around the
right?
login stuff. So
Okay, yeah. So let's do that tomorrow, guys. So yeah, I had, because I had this in mind. So
yes.
I want to, no, I want to have the material. So I don't have the material for that. I have the material for all the things. So
Hmm.
but it will be covered, of course, and I will explain all today. All tomorrow will be about this. Okay, the logins for stuff. So today we're going to let me share screen. So where's the Zoom stuff? Practically in WebDirect, everything in FileMaker works. All the objects we have in FileMaker works. Everything we get in FileMaker works, right? So I was building object here. So some dates, some numbers, some text, and I'm going to put a button here, you know, and with an icon, let's put an icon here, whatever icon we have here. Let's put a plus like this. So everything we have, and we can, I don't know if we have action button. Yeah, we have a button here, nice button, right? I can also put like a popover, so popover, oops, popover, and popover with an icon. Let's put this icon here, and yeah, with a popover here, and we can do that like this as well. So all the object we have in FileMaker works in WebDirect, right? So so I have a button here, I have a popover, and it comes like this, right? So as you can see here, we have some there's stuff that doesn't really work well, like this here. I understand why they have problem with this, right? So but it's okay. Typically, that the reason why we can avoid these problems, and I'm going to explain how we can overcome this. Okay, this issue that the border here is not coming on the arrow, right? So and we have some things that works without working 100%, right? So that's why I want to explain this, right? But in general, everything we have in FileMaker works. Okay, so if I decide here that this is a currency with 2, and I have a currency like this, using my system settings, right? So if I have a number like this, right? If I put 10 here, it will come like this, right? So it works, right? It works as expected. The same for the dates, right? So I can just come here with a date like this. I can change the format of the date, right? And decide that this is a drop-down calendar here, right? So if I go here, the date change, and then I have a drop-down calendar, which is, to me, looks better than the calendar we have in the in native, it looks better than this one, right? This looks better. I wish we could have this one, right? So so it works, right? So we can do this and we can do this. That the month, that the year, month minus month, that the years, right? So this works very well, right? Oops, and boom. So so this works as expected, right? So we have our calendar here, we have the number, and we have some text here, text, right? So this works as expected, right? Or I can just put my name here, right? So this works as expected. So you can see here, so I'm making a change here, right? Right? If I do a change here, instantly here, in the same record I have here. So see, the connection is instant. Other thing that's very cool, right? If I change this, if I change the position of this and I save the layout, this change automatically in WebDirect, right? Automatically, it's instant. Any change you do, you change, you move this, boom, it come here. If you change the color of this, right? And you come here, you change the color, right? This is WebDirect. This is web. I'm in the web here, right? So there's also things that differs with WebDirect. So mostly, right? So let me create a new field, like let's say this is our menus value list, right? So I have a value list here. So things that differs are the controls, the text controls. This can be different here. So let me put this here. It's better if I do this. So I have a value list here, and let's copy this. So I have a value list here. So I'm going to create a value list for my demonstration. So I'm creating a value list. So I'm going to call it WebD, right? WebDirect. And I don't know, weekdays. Okay. So I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's it. Okay. So I have my days here, and I put this here. So we have different controls, right? So the first control we have, right, is a drop-down list. So this will behave the same as native. So all the control works, This is native, okay? And this is WebDirect. So it looks pretty much the same, right? Same behavior. That means I can type whatever I want, right? And I have the list. And it works exactly the same way. This is selected, right? If I select Wednesday and I click again here, it said Wednesday, right? If I click here, I have this. It works the same, with slight differences. This can look different, right, from different navigator. I don't have many navigator here, but you might have differences between PC, Mac, between Firefox or Edge or Safari or Chrome. It could be different. Okay, this could look different. Okay. Another thing, of course, if all the controls, include this, if I include the arrow, for example, right? So of course this will work. So now it looks different. So now it behaves like this, right? So I need to click here, like native, right? Like native. Here now I need to click the button to get this, right? So Also, so all of these will work the same, autocomplete included. If I tap Monday, autocomplete, oh, yeah, normally it should work. If I say to, no, I think it was. So see, there's some differences here sometimes, so this doesn't, okay. This, of course, neither, okay, because I can go here and say edit this, and then I have this control here, but here I don't. I can't edit, right? So those are the differences that we have from WebDirect, right? So this doesn't work, this doesn't work. So we have some limitations, right? Of course, the other limitation we have, so we have the menu, right? So this is drop down, and this is the menu. So if I put this at the menu, pop-up menu, right? So this looks like this, right? So now it works like a menu, right? So this was a drop down. This is a menu, right? So now here where we have the biggest difference here is there. So we have the first we have here are their checkboxes. Okay, so let's put this like this. So the checkboxes, okay. So this will look different, right? Slightly different. They look good, but they behave the same way, they behave the same way. So that the checkbox, but you see here, I did on purpose. This can happen, right? This can happen. That means you need to put a little bit extra here to get that result. Sometimes a bit more. Boom, right? So you need to take this in consideration. Knowing that it's not really a big deal is because you can see the result immediately, right? Neither, so when you have checkboxes like this, and we have radio button as well, right? So this is the radio, right? So I can put that at a radio button, right? So here we don't care, so here, see, we have the radio button. They look pretty similar, okay? As the only thing that is different from the native, right? The thing that is different is how this works, right? Is this, the button here. Those buttons, the text is coming from whatever you'd ask here. But this button here cannot be changed. You see here, we have a big difference between this and this, right? This is not changeable. This is not changeable. This is coming, yeah. I know, okay. This is coming from the system. That means they will look different between PC, Mac. They can look different between Chrome and Safari or Firefox, right? So you can have slight differences in this. Mostly we look the same, okay? So for example, if I change the font here, let's say I'm taking this one and I'm putting this here, right? So I'm making the both together, right? So this is how they will look. Okay, boom. So the text, the background, all of this will follow, but not the button. Everything in those objects that is here, right? This or this won't change, right? Only the background and the fonts, right? So here we can change things, in those controls, right? Those controls follows, they follow whatever I ask here. They look the same, right? Even though I'm going to come with the font consideration, right? I'm going to explain that, right? But you can see here now, see, I fixed them, right? So I'm going to come with I'm going to explain the font consideration, right? But what I want to explain is that there's things we can change. We have control and things we don't, right? Here we have no control on those buttons here. That means on this, we have control, right? We have control, on their text and the background, and of course their, if I want to do this, right? So we don't have control on the button. Neither, I don't think we have, so I need to check because they keep going and updating WebDirect, and sometimes they remove things, sometimes they add things, so that could be hairy sometime, because sometimes they add something, but I don't think this will work. They're, no, it doesn't. See, so we cannot change this, the line spacing. This won't work. Okay, this won't work. We cannot change this, right? So we have some limitations, and we have, some good things like the font and thing like this, right? So it's a trade-off, right? It's a trade-off. So we can, but mostly it will work as is. But I'm going to show you during this webinar that we can build our own, right? And there's things that we can make better than this, right? Oops. Okay. So do we have any questions so far?
Can we use a radio button?
Yeah, this is radio.
Yep.
Okay, this is checkbox, right? This is checkbox. But you can see here, I can have this configuration here. This is a possibility in FileMaker, even though it's a really, really, really a FileMaker stuff, right? It's a FileMaker stuff that I can do this, right? So I can add like this, a radio button with Shift. I don't know if you guys knew that. If I click normally on the native, forget about this. On the native, I can click here, right? The difference between radio and checkbox is I can have multiple choice here, right? And here is one at a time, right? But if I hold Shift key, I can do this. This is really, really, really FileMaker, right? I never saw that in another platform than FileMaker in my entire life, okay? At that point, it's so FileMaker, then this doesn't work. It cannot recognize this configuration, right? It's not possible for this to recognize this configuration. Right? It cannot recognize the configuration. That means here I can have this, here not, because WebDirect, you rely on the browser to display the radio, but the native radio of the browser doesn't know that FileMaker can bypass, violating the rule of a radio button, right? So that's why you need to know stuff like this, right? But I'm not sure if you ever know that we can do that, right? With the radio button, which the natural behavior is this. I don't even know why they came to this. Who took this decision to bypass the general rule of the radio button? I don't know. So those are text objects. So now I want to come with the font consideration. Okay. I'm working in the computer business, since I'm 16 and I'm 53, right? So my first computer was a Mac Plus. And so I knew the era of the 286, Intel, 386, Intel, 68,000, Motorola's and stuff like that. So I come from that world, right? So, and in my entire career, I worked a lot for the publishing business, publishing, printing, publishing, right? And fonts always been a big issue and still an issue. Okay. Because okay, so now we have a better font management in terms of system on the system level, right? But still we have issues with certain fonts. And the worst font ever historically, this is historic, and it's not just in FileMaker, right? In the entire computer science, whatever, the worst font ever, the worst is Helvetica. Always be a pain in the neck, always. On the printing, it was a nightmare, right? And so that's why they came with this one. I don't even know if I have it. Helvetica New. Helvetica New. New. Helvetica New. Where's the Helvetica New? Okay. So they came with this. That was kind of like a fixing of the Helvetica. You see, I changed this and see how it changed, even natively, right? Even natively, it changed, right? It is different, right? It's more, it's different. The spacing, the padding, the positioning, you know, the embedment, everything is different on the Helvetica. But and it looks different also in, see now, it looks better here, right? It looks better. Look this, you know, if I do this, I come here and I say, okay, I want Helvetica, you know, and I save this. So look here, you know, right? Doesn't, okay. So see, it changed a little bit, right? So it's, if I put a little bit of more padding here, right? So now it's more aligned, it's better aligned, it works better. So if you want to use Helvetica as a font, right, which I understand, it's a good looking font, right? You need to use Helvetica now, not the Helvetica here, because see, boom, it changed everything, the padding changed, everything changed. And on the WebDirect, it will be completely different. It will be, you know, both is truncated. Helvetica always be a problem, okay? Helvetica is better, right? But if you want to be, you know, like peace of mind, right? You're very, very, very peaceful. Use Arial. You know, if you use Arial, so let's put Arial here. All your problem vanish. It looks quite the same, right? There's some differences on the zeros and stuff like that, right? But this is the most basic, robust, best looking, free of you know, problem fonts, right? I always use Arial here in my WebDirect solution because it looks okay, right? It looks good. There's no as much problem. There's okay. Does it look different here and here? No, right? If I do this, does it look different here and here? Let's see. It looks different. There's, you know, it doesn't, you see here. So now if I do this, right, to make it center here, boom, it will get truncated. Paf. You get this. It's a nightmare. Helvetica, get out, right? Calibri can be cool, but it looks smaller, right? And here it looks, you know, so it's Arial, 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 Arial. Then you're good to go. And everywhere you put Arial, right? So you have one font, Arial. You are peace of mind, and you don't have any problems, right? You can have these slight differences sometime, right? So you need to think about this, right? Here, right, to make sure that you have this. It can differ from computer to computer. It can differ from version of Edge, version of Safari. It can differ. Okay, I have a pretty old version of Safari because I'm still on the very old system, right? But it can, but I want to show you all of this, guys. But especially what I want to show you is that you get out of all problems, all of them, on your text if you use Arial, and just make the demonstration to you, because now this and this look exactly the same. So you don't have to think about it. Say, okay, hey, is it different between this and this? No, you won't have any difference. You won't have any padding issue. You won't have any truncation issue, right? So yeah, Arial is the solution. Correct? Do we have any questions?
What is the way to block radio buttons to multi-choice?
There's none.
Okay.
I mean, yes, yeah, you can. Okay, so if you want to block this, you need to come with an auto entry calculation, right? So that means to always have the latest choice. So I did that one. Yeah, it's interesting. Since we have some time, we can play a little bit. So if I'm showing that field as a text, just as a text, here. This is how it works, right? If I click, so let's say I have none, it's empty. I click Tuesday and then Wednesday. Sorry. I click Wednesday and then Tuesday and then Monday and then Friday and then Thursday. It keep going down, 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 right? You understand? So what you need to do to prevent that to happen is to do something like this. To say like write values text self 1. So then you get always the latest value. If I remember, because I didn't do that for a long time. I'm not a fan of radio buttons, right? So if I try with the shift, see, I get always the latest. I have my shift key, I have the shift key, right? It's pressed. Proof of it. I don't want you to think I'm lying. It's pressed. See? It's pressed. It's red. So, right? This is gone. So if I don't press it, it works. If I press it, boom. So pretty much, since I demonstrate to you that the latest, so the latest is always, let's disengage this. The latest you click, even here, right? If I put Wednesday first, then Tuesday, then Friday, then Monday, then Thursday, is always the last one, is always the last in the list. In this will be the last I choose, right? Same here. If I click shift, if I click this one first and then shift, it always is the last here. So what you say to the auto entry calculation, you say, get me the last of the list, right? The right value. Get me the one, right? Get me the one, the latest you have, right? So if I click here without shift, if I click shift, it will get me always the latest. See, right? And of course, this now I will have the same behavior as a radio button with this looking. And sometimes I'm doing that trick for this. I want a checkbox looking to behave like a radio button, like this. I can no longer select multiple, even though this is the checkbox, right? So it's a little trick, very easy, right? Right values, mom, right? And you have now a radio button. You have now a checkbox looking, acting as a radio button. And of course, the shift key is off, is out, right? Cool, right?
Extremely cool.
Yeah. Other questions?
Yes. Does WebDirect render fonts which are not on the destination system or replace them with a standard web?
No, the answer is no. That's why you need, like, like for example, in my system, I don't have Calibri, right? I mean, it's not rendering Calibri. It's not rendering this, right? The browser is rendering fonts, right? So it's kind of tricky when you go to the preference and you have the, I think it's in advanced. So you can have a different style sheet and so where's the font management here? We can I don't remember where we can advanced developer where we can change the font. I don't remember where it was, but you could change fonts and stuff. Um, but if you don't have this, if you don't have the font, it won't rendering. No, this is a limitation also. So you cannot have your own font, and no, you can't. That's why it's okay. It's a limitation that you cannot use fonts like this, and but like I told you, say okay, yeah. Look, the best is to get out of this business, right? Use Arial. It's not a bad looking font. Uh, either you want to use multiple fonts in one layout. This is a violation of the principle of the basic principle of design. You don't use multiple fonts in the same window, let's say, right? I mean, unless it's the font of your logo or something like this, or you want to, but like for example, in the example I showed yesterday, I was using a cursive font. I don't remember. There's some font working, some are not. So I can come and see if I can find a documentation based on this, for the fonts. But you will enter a problem. You will put your finger in many problems if you try to go right, like the padding and stuff like this. You will have some issues if you do that, right? So if you go to that course, right? Other questions?
Yes. The question about the radio button was referring to a JavaScript radio button. They want to use a JavaScript radio button, apparently.
Yeah, they use pretty much the defaults, but that is not a FileMaker stuff. If you go website, like your bank account or whatever, and you have radio buttons or you have checkboxes, you will see they look different between one system to another. This is not a FileMaker issue. This is a web issue. This is all web designer have this issue. Then after that, they can use their own. They can use their own checkbox. They can use their own stuff. Or sometimes I'm using my own stuff. I'm using my own checkboxes, right? So I'm going to show you this. I use my own checkboxes. I build this my own, right? So look, for example, if you want to build your own, I can, so you use this. So it's a little bit tricky. If you want to do that, you really need to have the use of this, right? So let's say I have 5, so this is a button bar, right? So I have a button bar here. And then I want to show, you will see it's a little bit tricky, right? So I want to show here, right? This Monday, Tuesday, Friday, right? In this button here, right? So I use this, right? So what's the name of this? Let's copy the name of this value list. So I'm copying the name of this value list, right? So I still want to use the value list, right? So you put here and you say, okay, get value of the value list item. This I don't care. And the value list name. And then you said 1, right? Correct? Then you go here and you put 2. Then here you put 3. And here you put 4. And here you put 5. Right? So let's remove this. Let's remove this for now. Right? So I have a calculation here. So you say calculation, 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 right? So trick for you, right? If you want to see when you do something like this, even here, for example, in a tab, and you have a calculation tab, calculated tab, you have a calculation tab. Now it said calculation. It doesn't show what it is. Then you go to view and say show, and you say, okay, sample data. So FileMaker here will try to get the first record in the table and use the first record. If that's something, it will use the first record in the table. Boom. So that means now I see. So I am in a layout mode. For example, here, this is the date I put in the first record. I have $10. I have March, Thursday, right? So now it renders what I have in the first record in the table. And it renders the calculation based on the first record in the table. Just say show sample data. This is extremely good when you want to do something like this. Okay, right? So now, right? So I have a button here. So I have buttons with whatever in this value list, correct? Right? So I can change how it looks. Of course, right? I can add an icon here, right? I add an icon. So now I have this, right? I have an icon, or I don't know where to put myself here. Let me put that here. So I have the icon, right? And I have one icon per, per button. So I'm going to, I don't know if I have I saw that I have a checkbox. I have a check mark icon here. So see, I have a check mark icon here. I put the check mark out, the checkbox, right? You can put this. You can use this, or you can use this if you want, right? The box like this, or the small version, right? But I like the check mark, sorry, right? So I have an icon like this, right? And then I said, okay, right? So I have different here. So this segment here is the inactive segments, right? And that the active segments. See, it turned blue, the active segments, right? You go to the icon and you say active is blue, but on the inactive icon, you don't want gray, you want transparency. So the active, we use this, and the inactive, we use transparency. The hover, you can use gray. It looks good. I will show you. The press, you can use the same, and in focus, we can use, whatever. Or yeah, we can use the blue in focus, or we can use the gray also. So now I have a button here. The active icon is blue, right? And on the segments, the active text is blue, right? The inactive text is gray, right? The hover state, the press state, and the focus, right? So now I have a button here, right? So if I put a script here, if I put something, I said, okay, now I'm going to set a field, this. And I'm going to say, yes, okay, what is this set field, right? Well, is get value of the value list item. I don't care about this. This is the name of the value list. Okay. So value list item this, right? And the value number is 1. So I'm copying this, right? And I'm going to repeat that. So of course, it is better if I have a script, because now I need to do this 5 times, which is painful. But if I had a script, I don't have to do this, right? And here I'm putting 2. You will say, yes, that's a big endeavor, But you can build one, and then we use them. Then you have you can have a library of objects, and you reuse them, right? So this is free, and you can reuse them, right? Right. That 4, and that's set value, set field. If I had a script, that would have been much simpler. But for the demo of today, that's enough. So now I have a button here, right? So let's see how it looks. So this looks like this. And I said, oh, yeah, because this is, I need to commit the record here. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it looks much better, in my opinion, right? It looks better, right? And so you can, of course, you have much more control now, right? Than you have, right? So you can put a background, for example. So in that case, typically you have much more control like this. Here you have this control that you don't have here, right? But typically, if I have to build something like this, I would have done something like this, right? And back, right? I would have built something like this, right? With my stuff here, and I would have I would have put a title here, a little bit smaller, right? And centered. So you put that here like this, and like this, and like this, right? So this is how it looks on WebDirect, right? So it looks better, right, than this, in my opinion, right? So you have this hover effect, which is cool. We don't have here, right? And you have much more controls, right? You have much more control here than you have here, right? So, and of course, you can do a checkbox version, right? Because this is more radio than checkbox, this is a radio, right? Right. So for the checkbox, if you want to add, right? So you said, so it's a little bit tricky, more tricky, but I can show you. You have a list of whatever here with this, So that will add, right? That will add inside. But I don't have time for that now. I'm going to show you that tomorrow. I'm going to build it for you, and then you can use it. The checkbox stuff here, right? I don't want to go too far here. I want to talk about tabs and stuff like this, and answer questions. So, do we have any question?
Yes. Can we use VUE JavaScript framework in WebDirect?
Yes, you can with a web viewer. You can, of course, you can. So anything on the web viewer, right? Anything on the web viewer will be displayed, right? Anything. So everything you put here in a calc, that will be rendered as a Java objects, right? I don't have example or with the I never very use this, but it works. So you can have a Java frameworks there. I know people use a lot of controls like this, right? So they call the FileMaker data and then they have the control. Of course, you can do that. So you definitely can do that using a web. I'm not an expert on this. I'm going during this webinar, so I have some time. I'm going to ask Java people, like Calvin or whatever, or Christian to give me some example, and then I can come with this, right? So what about the big problem we have on the web viewer, right? In FileMaker WebDirect, right? Is that they need to be iframed. You need to build this with an iframe. But I'm going to show you that at the end, because I want to stay basic for now. That will be something I'm going to explain, but it's a little bit technical, right? But yeah, you can in a web viewer, you can display whatever you want, right? In a web viewer, So I don't know if I put like apple.com. I don't know if this will be something workable or not. No, it doesn't render because it's not. It's a bit. Maybe it's too small. So let me see. They need to be iframed. So we need to put the iframe stuff. I don't know by hertz, but I'm going to show you this. How to do that. To put something. So you can put videos, right? So things like this. I'm going to explain about those things: the video, the documents, right? All of this. This is something I want to talk about, right? So today is all about layout, basic layout object. Yeah, as we said, like Richard said, we start small, we start basic, and then we ramp up. Okay, so that's why I don't want to be too explicit, too deep, right? So we have some on some object here. So obviously, you see that this object here, the tab objects, the button bar, the button bar object works very well, right? That means it works extremely well on WebDirect when the tab control. The tab control is a very FileMaker-ish objects, right? And it doesn't render exactly the same on WebDirect. There's a bar here, right? And it render like this, which is right. See what I mean? It looks weird to me, right? That's why I prefer to use another control. We were, I'm not a fan of tab. To me, FileMaker could get rid of this here. They could get rid of this. I don't use it. No, it's old. It's cumbersome. This is a, this has been introduced in FileMaker 2.0, right? And since then, they never talk. They never, they never really modify this, right? So I don't really like it. We don't have control here, right? We don't have control. See, so I think I can change that if I do this. If I do the focus to be the same color of this, I can remove this. Hold on. I'm not even sure if I can do that. No. See, I still have this problem. When this, it doesn't. I don't know. It looks. I don't know. So I don't use that control for WebDirect anyway. Even on my normal, I'm using that control. Which is a control much more modern, right? And this control looks identical and works identical. So I have full control on this. So I can increase this, right? I can change the color of the dot if I want. This follows, right? It follows. So I have this is a much more modern object than the tab, which is the old, antique relic from the past. This is much modern, right? We saw that the bottom bar works much better than any other object, for example. So I can say tab 1, right? And tab 2 and tab 3, right? Then I said here, this is a slide 1. So you build one object and you can reuse it, right? So this is a slide 1. This is a slide 2. This is a slide 3, right? So you have this tab here. And then you say, of course, if I had a script, would have been better. Go to objects and you say slide 1. This is go to objects. Go to objects, slide 2, right? And then you say go to objects slide 3. Right? So slide 1 here, slide 2, 3, see?
Mm-hmm.
And slide 1, 2, 3. So of course you have much more control,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like for example, I want to have something like this in the active one. I want it to be blue, but underlined, for example. Let's put this like this, okay, right? So you have much more controls, right? Then, of course, you can have also this works, the hands. Now you have a hand here, right? So I need to put that on all buttons. So you have a change of cursor. No, this is hand. See? So you have this control as well. That works on buttons as well, right? So you have much control than the tab, and you can put whatever you want in as a calculation. You can put tab 1 and and get current date. So you have much more control, right? So it's to me, there's no question asked. It's much better because you can do this. You do whatever you want, right? So you build your own tab and you do whatever you want, right? So that's what I'm saying. There's object behaving better, other object not behaving, right? So I was talking before we go to the question. I was talking about the popover issue, right? I typically don't do that, and I don't keep them like this, white, right? I'm not, so to overcome this, right? So first, what you need so you see the drop shadow is not quite correct and stuff like that. So let's get rid of all of this, right? And use like, something like this and something like this, right? So now they look better, right? It looks very much better, right? So you can use a color instead of the white, right? So if you want to do something different, you can do this, use a gray, right? Use them gray, right? So we can use a gray a little bit less aggressive, right? So that looks better, right? So you can put that blue, right? So no border. See, now it looks good. You can see that. You can see the popover, right? Like this, right? Right. So there's many things we can do. Other thing that I want to show you that is interesting, right? Before we go, is that we have an object that works very well on WebDirect, right? And that a new window as a car style. So let me build a layout card style. Okay. Yeah. And because this is also the answer to overcome some issues with
Yes.
what I have today. So the car style. So let me put that centered and 22 and blue, bold, and Arial and no background and like this. Okay. Okay. So I have a car style window, right? Okay. I have this window here. So, let's go there. So I have a button here, and I say new window. I'm going to say it's a car style window. I have the close button, and then I'm going to go to the car style one. So this is how it looks natively, right? And this is how it looks in WebDirect, right? So we have this problem here, which is white when here is not, right? But we can overcome. So you see, we have the drop shadow, which looks good. We have the same behavior. It looks the same. We have also the dim background, right? That works, right? So like this, So and we can say no, I don't want the dim background. So if I go new window and I say I don't want to dim, I can remove the close button here, and I'm going to show you how to overcome this problem, right? So let's say I'm going here in the car style, right? And I'm adding my own close window. And I'm making one that looks webbish, right? And which is this. Be smaller. So that looks webbish, right? And I say close window. That's it. It's easy. So I have my own close window, and I put on the right because I like it. And so you can do whatever you want, right? So now we have this close window, right? And now we have the close window here. Oops, sorry. So if I open here, see my close window, right? So the car style window is good because it can be a good answer to the popover. We don't see a lot of popover on website, correct? Do you agree with this? People online, do you agree that we don't see this object a lot because it's not a comfortable object, in my opinion. I hate when I have popovers on some applications. One that I have in mind is a calendar on the Apple. They overuse the popover, in my opinion. And I hate this popover because it disappear. Accidentally. I like this. It's clear because even if I click outside, it doesn't go right. And so that's why I don't. See. Look, popover. Do you? So what do people say online about the popover, Marge? About not existing a lot.
Uh, I think people are agreeing that it's not. Like I said, I can't remember the last time I ran into that wasn't like a popover ad or something like that. But most people have that blocked. So yeah, it's not
Yeah.
something.
No, I mean the pop. When I say popover, is this?
Yes, no,
That
I know what
means
you mean. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't remember the last time
yeah,
I ran.
yeah, yeah. So it's not an object that we encounter a lot on the web because it's not a look. It doesn't work well. And to be honest with you, it's it's fantastic that works on WebDirect. It's fantastic that they made it working right on WebDirect.
Mhm,
Really, it's not that easy to get a popover like this on the web. It's a very complex objects, okay?
mhm,
But it doesn't work well, right? So we have different ways to do that with different, and one consideration is the caster window because they look good, they look way better, right? So especially when you get them white, you know. So if I go there and we have a much better control. We have a much better control on the background, on the size, whatever you want to put there. Or they look pretty good. You know, so I like them. It's this is a very when they introduced the CASTAR window, it was very cool. What I do like is that see here we have the scrolling effects. So if I do this, I can scroll up and down, right? Which is cool. But if I open this, I cannot scroll anymore. I'm stuck, and that's good. That's what we want because when we hear it does see as soon as I move the scrolling, boom. See, you know what I mean? It's if I click here and I move the scrolling, boom,
it's
it
gone.
doesn't, it gone, right? So sometimes you say, well, what happened? Why it's gone, right? But here, up, I can scroll anymore. I'm scrolling here, blah, 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 it's stuck, and that's cleaner. That cleaner. It helps the user to be more comfortable. I'm using a lot of cast style, and sometimes I'm using this trick, and I'm showing you. You know, on WebDirect, what WebDirect doesn't like, and I'm going to explain that during all the mini series, right? Because we're going to do a lot of things. This is just our, our general view. Okay. The trick I'm using a lot on WebDirect and on iPhone and iPad as well, right, is I'm calculating the weight on get the window content height, content height, and this is get window content width. Okay, so I'm saying the size of the card is the window content height and the window content width. So I'm doing this. So what that happen? That's what that will do. Okay. Well, I have a window like this. You do this. Boom. Oh, yeah. So I need to see it's if I do this, let me do this. Sorry. If I put this object here centered, you do this. Yeah, I need to center this as well. I mean, put it here. I have a window covering this one, boom, completely. And then I close, boom, and I stay where I was, right? I don't leave. I stay. I show something, close, right? Show, close. So here in WebDirect, we have the same thing. Show, close, show, close. See? It looks great. You don't close. You see, I have the whole thing, but it doesn't refresh. It doesn't redraw the back. See how it looks? It doesn't redraw the back. If I go to another layout, it will redraw, right? So sometimes it's very cool to use that trick. And you know what? You know what? What do you think it happened on many, many websites? I cooked one recently, which is my chase.com. When you go and you want to pay somebody with Zelle and you want to edit your recipient, that's what they use. They use the same trick. I cook them in the acts, right? They use the same freaking trick. Boom. They open something like this. You edit your recipients on Zelle, and then boom, back. Because there's no redraw. You can see there's no redraw, right? So on FileMaker, here we have the same advantage, right? You understand that? Cool. The last, before we go, and if you have question or whatever, the last thing I want to talk about is the click-through, right? The click-through. So what is a click-through? Let's say I have a button, a transparent button, and this button is a show dialog. Hello, right? I have a button. And on top of this button, I have an object on top of it, right? And here, I have another object, say hello, okay? Or say hello, okay? So I have this configuration, right? Say hello, whatever. But I have a button on the back. Behind those, I have this button, right? Behind is way behind. This button here is behind. Correct? So here what happened. We FileMaker, the clients, we don't care. We call that a click-through. It clicked on a button, is underneath objects, the button's still active. Okay? So I can go there. On WebDirect, no. Impossible. the click through doesn't work. So if you have this configuration, which is a configuration we have in a lot of portals, guys, see portals, we have a button on the back of the row, and then we have text on top of it, right? So the click through here works, but here doesn't. So yeah, you need to do this. Put the button on top. And then now it works, right? It works. So if you want to, so before we go, the last thing, you see that we have thing here, like these objects, those are the dialogues, right? They works, they works. I can say custom dialogue and say, whatever, my name is Nick, and I can change, I can change this, I can change this. That we work on WebDirect, bye, welcome, right? They work. So this object works. So, but it works, with a, it works. You can make them bigger, but the text doesn't follow, right? And if you come back, it doesn't keep the size, right? So yes, they give you like the basic elements, like of their, their default object, out of the box object, like the dialogue. But if you want to be serious with WebDirect, you have to consider building those like dialogue layouts, right? So, which is something we have with FileMaker for a long time, right? A window that is a dialogue, correct? Right? We have this as a dialogue. So it's not the dialogue, the show dialogue. This is a default, quick fix, right? But it's not the best, right? So that's all for today. So if you have some question, we want to tackle them rapidly.
I'll ask one question, but I also, someone was like, "Oh, you're not responding to me in YouTube chat." For some reason, there's a couple people I responded to directly in text, and YouTube stopped working for me. So I have to go figure that out. It won't let me send messages back. Jonathan Marcus, you asked about the issue yesterday. The issue yesterday is there's something that has to be turned on the server. There's an article about it, which I will send to you. We don't
Okay,
currently
cool.
have our server guy, so sorry, Nick. I'm just like establishing this real fast. We don't have our server guy at the moment. He's on vacation this week, which is just the way that works out. So we can't show the fix. The question that I want to ask you real fast, Nick, before I let you go, is unrelated to WebDirect, but if anyone would know, it would be you. The custom icons in the host menu sometimes don't display and default to the native icon. Is there a reason/fix for this?
The default icons, that mean on the button?
Custom icons in the host menu sometimes don't display and instead defaults to native icons. I assume the icons that he's adding.
Oh, you mean those they're in here? This one?
No, I think he means like icons that you add to buttons. Like you can upload your own.
Oh, yeah, and yeah. Okay, so the SVG icons.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me give you a website that you will love. I'm not sharing my screen, for privacy purpose. But I'm going to give you their websites, which is this is a competitor website, but they did it, so it works. Yeah, sometimes you have a problem. Sometimes they don't work. The color doesn't work. you know, the different coloring like this, or even the you have part of the icon, or sometimes it's completely off, it's completely down, right? So just drag the icon, the SVG here, and boom, and you will download a new version. So you go to that website, so you drop the SVG file here, and then it will download a new version, our FileMaker Pro. Sometimes it doesn't work. So the philosophy is this: all SVGs are not FileMaker compatible because they are too complex. When you see a SVG with a lot of details, it won't work because they have multi-layers. What FileMaker doesn't lack is multi-layer stuff. So depending how the guy built it, this FMS, the FM SVGinator, who invent that name, SVGinator. It's funny to me. But it works, so you drag your SVG file here, and you will download a new version and use that new version.
There you go. Okay. With that being said, I think we can probably wrap.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was for the basic. I'm going to look. It was just a basic demonstration about some limitations, some advantage, in how you can fix them, how you can overcome them. Something like this. But nothing major. I mean, you see that we get a lot of things there. And tomorrow it will be all about login.
Yes. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for coming. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.